I'm a cult leader, a cuck, a conspiracy theorist, a trust fund baby, and a snake oil salesman. At least that's what you'll find in the bowels of a Reddit thread somewhere. But the truth is far more interesting. The irony is there are plenty of reasons to take a crack at me. I got all kinds of flaws, addictions, failures, breakups, and I've always been committed to share all of it. Plus, my first company I worked for was Fleshlight. That's right, squishy vaginas in an oversized flashlight canister.
I'd like one of those flashlights with a vagina in it, please.
With that out of the way, my story begins with a self-made dad who made a fortune as a commodities trader and a mother who happened to be a Wimbledon semifinalist, but more importantly, loved me unconditionally. Jump to 1999. Chris Marcus, varsity basketball captain, big party guy, and soon to have my world turned upside down with my first plant medicine ceremony. I woke up one morning in New Mexico as an angry atheist, and I went to sleep the next day with an undeniable belief in God. Over 25 years, I've been a living experiment about what happens if you continue to diligently work with, or rather get worked by, many of the great psychedelic plant medicine traditions of the world. In 2011, I had my first ayahuasca experience, legally changed to my middle name, Aubrey, and founded a company called On It with the powerful Joe Rogan, with the remnants of about 110 grand I raised from friends. On It came out with a product called Alpha Brain. And when the skeptics started calling it snake oil, we ran it through 2 clinical trials with the Boston Center for Memory. It was a ballsy gamble, and it paid off. In 2021, I sold my company and ended up with a ridiculous sum of money in my bank account. And to be honest, I didn't know what the fuck to do with that kind of money. I gave away a ton of it to charity and sacrificed 7 figures more running Fit for Service as a community healing project. That's where some people who never attended an event got the idea to call me a cult leader. January is my last event though, so I guess from here forward I'll have to be a retired cult leader. I also did a bunch of stupid fun shit. I chartered a boat through Greece with my best friends. I threw a donation-based music festival. Bad idea. And I lavished my wife with pretty things. But let's back up a minute. Before getting with the woman of my dreams, a Tahitian dancing, sound healing, erotic goddess named Vailana, I realized that I wasn't suited for a conventional relationship. With the courage of my fiance, Whitney Miller, I dove headfirst into kitchen table polyamory. I had some beautiful experiences, and I also got my ass kicked. People called me a cuck, but pretty much every time my beloved spent the night with another man, I wanted to scream, cry, fight, vomit, all at the same time. If I was a cuck, I was no Cuck Norris. I still have an unconventional relationship with my wife, Vailana, but after a decade of experience exploring the edges, I have landed in a unique place where I couldn't imagine living with more love and joy in my heart. What else? I don't know. In 2018, I got in a car crash which mangled my face and gave me a nose that the internet deemed the hunchback of Nostradamus. I have a podcast with about 500 episodes, mostly with spiritual or religious teachers. I wrote a New York Times bestseller called Own the Day, Own Your Life, and I made a bunch of documentaries about my psychonautic journeys. I also called bullshit on the safety and efficacy of the famous jab, which gave me the honor of being called a conspiracy theorist. And I actually mean that. It's an honor, because the conspiracy now has receipts, and I find myself on the right side of history. Speaking of, I proudly supported Bobby Kennedy's presidential run from the drop. He's one of the best men I know, and I have the privilege of calling him friend. Even though I wish with every breath we had chosen him to be president of the United States, I am incredibly optimistic about these next 4 years, and I'm proud to be an American. I've also found true brotherhood with Jake Paul after a meeting with a certain toad on the medicine path. I've been in his corner for his last 5 fights, and we're cooking up something big, including a fellowship of changemakers called the Round Table. Ultimately, I'm in the position where I get to live my life how I want to live it. Some may not like it, but it's my life. And what I want is to be true to myself and honest as daylight. I'm not going to pretend I don't want to be liked. In fact, that has been the weakness hardest to overcome. I also enjoy the luxuries that success has offered, of course. If you want a renunciate ascetic or a rainbows and butterflies new ager, I'm not your guy. But I am a man who is bound to an unshakable faith in God. And it's not because I read it in a book somewhere. It is because through 25 years of psychedelic medicine journeys, I have come to know God. God is our mother Gaia. God is Yeshua. God is Shekinah. God is the Buddha. God is the Tao. And God that transcends all of those names combined. And I'm as likely to see God in a nightclub as I am in a church. I am a lineage carrier of the world philosophy of cosmoerotic humanism and the wisdom of Solomon through my teacher, Rebbe Gaffney, as well as a psychedelic lineage bearer of my spiritual grandfather, Don Howard Lawler. I wear his crest as a tattoo on my right hand. I'm a wild dude, and these lineages help me clarify the boundaries of every action I can take. What else? I have a new poetry book coming out called Love to the Seventh Power, which categorizes 83 poems into the 7 types of love in the Greek lexicon. And I'm 140,000 words into what I feel will be my opus, a book titled You versus Anti-You, which stares the devil right in the mirror. I have a whole bunch of companies I love in the Aubrey Marcus Collective, and coming up soon I got a lot of the band back together for an On It 2.0 called Correct with a K. This time with a flagship energy product that works on the dopamine system, similar to how Alpha Brain worked on the acetylcholine system. Different pathways, different experiences, but equally as revolutionary. But I'll let y'all be the judge of that. For those of you who want to hate, this video won't change your mind, and it's all good. I've got nothing but love. Because love is the whole point. I think that Ram Dass's teacher was right. The goal of the game is simple, but it's as deep as the ocean. Love everyone and tell the truth. What will people say about Aubrey Marcus in the future? I hope they say he was someone who lived the fuck out of life, loved the goddess, cared for his family, and represented an invitation to celebrate and fight for a more beautiful world. I am proud of who I am, but every morning I wake up knowing that I could be a little bit better too. Thanks for caring enough to hear my story. I am Aubrey Marcus, and this is my truth.